Hi, this is Dr. Campbell, and I wanted to talk today about how should schools prepare for the new Obama racism database backlash. Now, there's going to be a backlash. Now, in a recent article, President Obama is cited for creating a racism database that impacts how schools will operate in the future. The database is not limited to schools and will provide the world a geographical view of problematic areas. Schools will need to prepare for the racism database backlash to avoid any possible civil rights litigation. Now, according to the article, Obama is collecting personal data for a secret race database. The Obama administration is collecting racial data on health, home loans, credit cards, places of employment, educational statistics, which include disciplining of children to ascertain the inequalities that may exist between whites and minorities. Much of the data is available through other governmental entities, which is not available to the public. For the first time, the public will become privy to this magnitude of racism data, which has never been available in the past. And so why should schools prepare for the racism database backlash? The first reason that schools should prepare for the racism database backlash is because the media attention will become an embarrassment for the school district. When a school district is unable to appropriately respond to racism allegations, the school district and its employees lose credibility. The school loses credibility with students, parents, and the community. Along with the loss of credibility is the loss of trust. The community will now demand a higher level of accountability from the entire school district, which in the long run will become costly. The normal response for additional school costs is to raise taxes. Raising taxes is normally met with abnormal opposition, resulting in the school having to cut staff and supplies as an alternative. The enormous cost of civil litigation is another reason that schools need to prepare for the racism database backlash. They will need to hire an attorney and in many cases will need to hire specialized representation. If there is a need for a settlement, the school district will incur additional costs. Since most racism settlements are paid by insurance, insurance companies will increase their premiums. Ultimately, this cost for the school district can result in a reduction in staff as well as resources that are needed for the students. The Canaan School District is an example of the cost of civil litigation associated with racism claims. A former student alleged that while at Alta High School, he was the victim of ongoing and ignored racist behavior. The claimant settled out of court for $100,000, which does not include attorney costs. This is almost the cost of at least 2 teachers or 1 school administrator, as well as an assortment of student resources. The loss of employment is another cause for the need that schools should prepare for the racism data backlash. For example, several school employees have lost their jobs due to acts associated with racism. Nancy Gordick, a former school principal, yelled during a school graduation ceremony, "You people are being so rude to not listen to this speech. It was my fault that we missed the speech in the program." She went on to say, "Look who's leaving, all the black people." The racial remarks resulted in the termination of the principal. The cost associated with rehiring another school principal could be in excess of $125,000 because to rehire someone that makes $100,000, it can cost up to 25% in hidden cost. Gil Voigt, a Fairfield freshman school science teacher, was terminated for stating, "We do not need another black president." This teacher had a history of making racial comments. In 2008, he was accused of calling a student African American Rudolph while pointing a laser pointer at the students. In 2013, he received a verbal warning for calling a student stupid and other students gay. Now, the term African American Rudolph is associated with Wilma Rudolph. Wilma Rudolph was an American track and field sprinter who became the first American woman to win 3 gold medals in track and field. She was also regarded as a civil rights and women's rights pioneer. You see, Rudolph protested that her hometown victory parade should be an integrated event rather than a segregated event, which was the protocol according to the Jim Crow laws. The first area that schools should evaluate is minority student discipline. This is the first category that the public and government officials will use to determine if racism exists in schools. The next area that schools will need to evaluate is school policies. When there is an allegation of racism, the United States Department of Education Office of Civil Rights will evaluate the policies and procedures in place to respond to racism allegations. Schools can use a committee of persons that includes staff, parents, and students to agree on policies and procedures for making racism ineffective in schools. And when schools are evaluating discipline, they should use the Accelerate Racism formula. And finally, schools can respond to potential racism database backlash by becoming proactive and instituting an initiative that promotes positive racial teacher-student classroom relationships. This is Dr. Campbell. You can read this article as well as other information on my website at www.positiveracialrelationships.com. If you want to talk about it, please feel free to call me on my direct line at 856-566-3267. Have a great day, and thank you very much.
Yeah. Be sure to check out positiveracialrelationships.com. Check it. Look, pull your pencils out. Class is in session. Let's focus on loving our neighbor without a question. Visit positiveracial